Welcome to the Fan Club YouTube channel. Please make sure to subscribe, like this video, and comment down below.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fan Club podcast. May look a little different if you're watching on YouTube, and it may sound a little different if you're tuning in from Apple or Spotify. This is Levi Cudmore. I'm usually the producer of this show, but today I'm hosting.
Yeah.
And producer Will is behind the stand.
That's hilarious. That was a great intro, dude.
Yeah, it was.
You're
really good.
You're completely just taking over as MVP because not only did you take over the crazy setup that you had that we were, not sure if you could pull off, but you pulled it off, and now you're leading the show.
That was one of the craziest setups I've had to do as a producer.
It seemed like we didn't really give ourselves that much time, eh? It seemed like you kept pushing it off, and then you finally had to get it going.
Yeah, to give you guys some context, we had a live interview at the Expo during the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. We had Taylor Heise come to our booth and join the show as we were selling and collaborating with Sophie Squad on It's Okay Not to Be Okay hoodie. And we were doing a live show, and I basically just slowly started setting up the pod gear as the rest of the guys were talking with fans and people around shopping for supporting the mental health awareness.
And the reason it was scary is because it was just our first ever live show that we had our own equipment. Everything was our own equipment. We had to set it up ourselves. Unlike Nylander, where everything was already set up for us. So that's why this time was just a little bit different. But
I think one of the most challenging parts of that was actually once we got parked out front of the XL and we had to carry all that stuff in with no trolley or anything like that. Lawson was trying to film. We had literally just enough hands where we could get it all down in one take because it wasn't even a close walk either. We had to go down an elevator and then find our booth, and luckily we were able to get it done, and then Cud was able to set it up properly.
Yeah. I would say that as a group, we have evolved really far compared to, I don't even know what episode it was, but back when we had another live podcast. It wasn't as big as this. However, we had a full hockey bag of pod gear. We brought literally everything in the studio to that live podcast. But this one, we have learned over the past 60 episodes that we only need certain things, and we fit it all into a little suitcase.
And I do have to shout out Mr. Lawson McDonald for finding an amp for us to use so we could actually talk into the mics, record the episode, and have it going over the speakers for everyone at the Expo to hear.
We almost didn't get that thing, though.
So
it's true. Well, thankfully, Lincoln and the Mustaches weren't using the amp system.
Shout out
Lincoln and the Mustaches. We took their amp for the show, so they weren't performing, I guess, that weekend.
No.
We got to use it.
But when Cuddy was setting that thing up, so that was a day before the pod, so we didn't really give ourselves that much time. It was either all or nothing. Either that thing would work or we had to go buy one. We didn't have many plan B, C, or Ds after that, so Cuddy was in here tinkering around with it. After a few goes and a YouTube video or two, you figured it out.
I was starting to get worried because I could not get it to work, whether it was coming out of one speaker and I had the mics plugged in directly to the amp, but then that way I couldn't record it on an SD card. So I had to do a little bit of digging to figure it out.
And this is what we call a farmer's fix because farmers are just known for, they don't fix things maybe the cleanest way, but they somehow figure out how to fix it. And you guys should have seen the cord system that Cuddy had connected to get our recorder. It went from mics to the recorder, and then that recorder had to go to the amp system, and there was probably 5 different cords in between that. And I don't know how that works, how your voice can even travel through those wires and project out of a speaker.
It's crazy.
I got to show, we'll have that in micro, a photo of that, because it was a pretty crazy cord system that you somehow figured out. I
also want to mention one thing. We didn't do a test run with that speaker, any sort of cord system. We literally Cuddy made sure that it would work. Like, he made sure that the mics would be heard through the speaker, but we didn't really test that thing at all as like a group beyond that.
And you
So-
scared him a bit today.
Oh yeah, I was watching back the Taylor Heise episode, and the crowd and like the background noise was so loud,
Oh no.
and so I freaked Cuddy out, but then he was just like, wait, that's just the camera audio. But
Oh,
overall,
yeah.
the mic audio was great.
Did
so-
it worked? It sounded
Yeah,
good?
it worked.
So
So
you guys got something good coming then.
yeah, you guys got something good coming in about 10 minutes.
It's good audio. But just to go back to, I guess, the tournament and Sophie squad as well, because I think what a lot of people may not know is that like this Expo and the high school hockey tournament is such a big tournament in Minnesota, and how just crazy it is that these high school players are selling out the Minnesota Wild like XL Energy Center. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a game like in that arena because we were working the Expo the whole time. But I just find it nuts how if you're in high school, and our other producer Will Blake got to experience this at that age, that you can actually be playing in front of a sold out crowd. And to me, like, I don't even know how I'd handle that back then. I
Yeah.
already was nervous playing in front of like 1,000 people in at that age. That would have been crazy. So I can only imagine how hard it is for them to prepare for games and how nervous you would be with all those people watching.
They must just have like such an adrenaline rush going that whole tournament, because it's basically like you're playing in like a sold out NHL rink.
Yeah,
And I mean, it
17,000
gets so loud in
almost,
there.
or 18,000.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact number is, but
Yeah, and it's like it's a little bit more intimate too, because you see all your classmates and probably teachers and stuff in like a section alone, so it's not just a big arena full of random people. Like, you see your friends, family sitting there watching, and then there's the rest of the crowd too, which is just crazy.
There is literally no other high school sport in the U.S., probably outside of just Texas football, that can compare to that level of like crowd atmosphere and overall just like community buy-in for a high school program. That's crazy.
I think we gotta ask Will actually what that experience is like, because our producer here, he's the only one that gets to experience that. Just tell us what it was like when you played.
Hello, everybody. It's fun sitting back here today, and that experience was pretty dang special. Being able to go 3 out of my 4 high school years, and ultimately losing the state championship my senior year in my last ever high school game. But you don't really remember that part or the game part. You just remember going out there. You get your whole school. They get to take the day off, and the school buses them down for the games. Obviously, I had 2 little brothers that were like, holy smokes, my brother must be in the NHL because he gets to play in this tournament. And yeah, just basically everything that you said, just the history behind it, how different cities come together and have those rivalries for 3 days is kind of cool. And especially for the players too, seeing those faces when they come up for their intros and they got their hockey hair ripping around, like, it's just something else, and definitely a top 2 moment in my hockey career.
What did you do for your intro when you skated up there?
I had the pretty basic hockey hair. Wasn't going for the all tourney hair team.
No bleach?
No bleach. We I think our coach told us no bleach, so we couldn't bleach. But yeah, went up there, and I remember what I said senior year. I don't remember the other years, but senior year went up and just like, I think I said hi to my grandma and grandpa or something.
Nice.
But
oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
it was great.
That one thing I want to point out too is like Minnesota high school hockey is just a different atmosphere than like college hockey and NHL, because you got the student sections out there chanting back and forth to each other. You got the pep bands. Of course, you got all the friends and family. Like, it's just a completely different atmosphere.
Yeah, I would say, just my prediction is, I think if you were to ask every one of those players in any years, they would have the same answer as Will, that it's like top 1 or 2 hockey moments. Like, it just seems so cool from like being a hockey player growing up, from my perspective. Like, I wish I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Their
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
ever games, Will says. Yeah, that is also crazy. That is just insane. But just in time back to, again, the Sophie Squad part, we're going to head into the interview with Taylor Heise here right away. And part of that interview, actually, we chatted about the Sophie Squad and some mental health stuff. And actually, when we interviewed PWHL players a couple weeks ago on the show, we got to hear the story of Sophie Squad. So I won't give the whole spiel about it, but essentially, yeah, we just made a collaboration hoodie, and we got to take it to a booth there at the Expo. We were hanging out there, and we were like, hey, why not get a little live show going here, get people crowding around the booth, get some fun stuff going. And, I mean, why did we pick Taylor?
Well, first off, Taylor is one of, outside of her being a Minnesota native, she grew up in southern Minnesota. She is arguably one of the best women's hockey players to ever play. And she obviously went through the same kind of route as Whale, playing high school in Minnesota, going to the state tournament many times, and then she went on to play at the University of Minnesota, so she didn't go too far for college, and now she is the first ever PWHL player to be drafted in their inaugural season to Team Minnesota. So figured that it makes sense to have someone from Minnesota who played basically every game that she's played in hockey in Minnesota, so yeah, I think that
Makes
was
sense.
the main reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bleed Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's throw it over to that interview. These guys did a great job, and here's the interview with Taylor Heise.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to one of the best weekends of the year at the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. We are the Hockey Guys, and we are super thrilled to be here with PWHL superstar Taylor Heise here at the Sophie Squad booth. We're in for one heck of a weekend, folks. How you doing, Taylor?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today. We're thrilled to be able to work with you finally. Now we just got to get on the ice.
That's the best. That would be awesome.
Yeah, 100%. So, Taylor, you're obviously a Minnesotan through and through.
Yep.
I think every team you've been on has basically been Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true. I started like an outdoor, where I'm from in Lake City, tiny, like there's like 20 kids out there, and you just cattle doors it in and out in a game, like wooden boards, and then I ended up playing in Red Wing, which is Minnesotan, back in the purple and black this year with Minnesota PWHL, so that's pretty cool. And then played at the University of Minnesota for 5 years, and then now I'm playing in PWHL Minnesota, so it's been pretty fun. Minnesota
Wow.
born and raised.
So, all the teams you rattled off, being a Minnesotan through and through, how is the state of hockey, like how does it mean to you playing practically your whole life for the state of hockey?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I think I have a lot of other friends, meeting them through USA Hockey and stuff like that, who don't have the fan system that we do. I would say even if you do kind of mess up or you're bad one game here or there, don't have your best game, that hasn't ever been an issue. I've never gotten heckled. I've never gotten like yelled at, anything like that. People love you genuinely and like just want to know how you are as a person. So after games, sometimes it's not even like talking about hockey. It's about just like, how's your family? Like, how's everything going on? Like, have you enjoyed it? So it's been awesome to have, not only the fan system grow ever since I was young, but to see women's hockey thrive in this sense has been pretty cool too.
I'm sure your parents must have loved it too. Didn't really have to go too far to watch you.
No, they're great. I have obviously two brothers that play college basketball down in Iowa, so it's about an hour and a half drive from me and an hour and a half drive to them. So they're pretty equal. They're going all over the states, but they love it. They love Minnesota. So it's been fun for them. I know that it's been a little bit less chaotic now that I'm out of college and my brothers are in it, because high school running around the state every day was kind of tough, but they love it.
So obviously growing up in Red Wing or the Red Wing area,
Yeah.
You were a superstar. You played high school hockey for 6 years?
Yep.
Which
Wow.
is crazy to think about. And how many times did you go to state?
4, I think.
Wow. So how did the community in Red Wing really back your team, your fellow teammates, and just how was the hockey community in Red Wing?
Yeah, it's been an honor to not just be from there, but, I lived 30 minutes away. Sometimes I had to stay at friends' houses. Sometimes parents had to bring me to school. Sometimes, if I needed a lunch, they would bring me that if I forgot it at home. So very, very honored to, have such an amazing community that, we never really had great hockey. I think we had good hockey, but it was never great. So that like Red Wing kind of took me in, and it was actually just Red Wing night at our game on Tuesday, I believe. And to see all the little kids there excited to continue to play. We've never had large numbers. Like, we're not like the Minnetonka Dinas of the world. We're very, very small. So to have the people not only back me, but know that hockey's still like a very prominent thing down there is pretty cool.
I know Will mentioned it that you went to state a handful of times. So how is this weekend, the atmosphere, the buzz, how is it as from a player's perspective being able to play in the state tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Now that I get to play at the Expo Energy Center on a weekly basis, it's been pretty cool. It brings back a lot of really cool memories, but I know in high school, like, it's the most coveted place to play. Like, everyone just wants to get there. And sometimes, like, the section final is the hardest game you can possibly play because you know if you just get to the state tournament, your adrenaline rides you all the way through. So I would say section final games for me were very, very focused, very tough. I went my 7th, 8th, and 9th grade year, missed my 10th and 11th grade year, and then came back my senior year. So to know that, you know, it's such an important place to be. I loved walking around this, watching the guys state tournament too. So, but to be a part of it, I've always said I don't really remember all the goals and us winning and losing, more so just the experiences of it. And, you know, when you're young, it's cool to walk around and go to casetas and, you know, get gelato after the game and hang out with your friends at a hotel. So those are all the things that I remember, and I try to tell that to little girls and even guys who come up and play here, because sometimes, you know, you get caught up in the hockey of it.
Do you have a specific favorite memory out of all the years you came here?
As much as it probably sounds stupid, like I said, we as a team would go to casetas either before or after, usually after a game. And I remember a coach had promised us if we had won this one game, he's like, well, I'll get everyone gelato. I'll buy everyone ice cream. And that's something I remembered because we all walked around the streets, went into all the stores and everything like that. And that was prior to me knowing a lot about St. Paul and Minneapolis. And we got to walk around as a team, and we saw so many things that rural Red Wing didn't have, and it kind of opened your eyes to a lot of interesting things. But it was so fun just to, you know, stay in a hotel and wake up and be like, guys, we get to stay here. We don't have to go home. Obviously, the first game I think is the hardest. I feel like we won.
Kind of make or break your tournament.
It is. It does make or break. But when you have a small community, I feel like Red Wing, everyone just wanted to get out of school, so everyone rode up on the bus and came up to games, which was really cool.
That's the best. You must have had a day game then too. All the students were pumped about that.
Oh, they were pumped. No one wanted to go to school down there. So anytime you could get out of it, it was the best day ever.
I think there's a lot of kids playing hooky around here today too.
Oh, I can see that for sure.
So as you mentioned, Red Wing being a rural area, was there any like coming up in that smaller town atmosphere? How would you say, like, from a hockey player perspective, how did that shape you? And did you have any mentors or anyone that pushed you to where you are today?
Yeah, I can't say enough about my parents, obviously. Like, they're not from Red Wing, but they're two very competitive people who just, like, love what they do, and they loved on me and my brothers so much. We're very competitive even to this day. We'll text each other about games, and we never give each other pointers because we are from different sports, but just, like, get out there, win, play your hardest. And then for the Red Wing community, I think it's been cool for me to see, like, this is a huge community, hockey in general, but I think to have such a small group of people who just really cared about me and wanted the best for me and knew that, you know, I wanted to take it a little farther than a lot more people in the state, in the city. So they have supported me for years, and I still have people who come up to me from Red Wing. Some of my teammates, I just did an autograph signing yesterday, and one of my teammates who I played with when I was 14 came up to me and was like, I had to come and see you. I signed up for this and all that. So to see that people still care and know that I'm, you know, not just doing this for me, doing it for all the little girls has been very awesome.
Well, you obviously left your mark in Red Wing hockey as I believe your name is up in the rafters at the arena now. What was your initial reaction when they told you that was happening?
Yeah, so I'm still really close with our arena managers and my coaches and everything like that. One of my coaches is now the boys coach, but one of my coaches back then is the rink manager, and he knew every Sunday before or after church, if it was a day off from school, I was coming into the rink. He just had to give me the key. I'd open the door. I'd lock it from the inside. I'd turn on the lights, and I could just go to town and do whatever I needed to do. So, you know, he calls me at least once a month. His name's Dan, and he, like, does everything he possibly can for me. He helped to set up the Red Wing Day at our game the other day. So just to be, like, just to have those people who are still such big fans, and not only, like, fans of me, but fans of my life, and make sure that I'm doing okay. Like, that's the biggest thing, and I think this booth is here for it. It's okay not to be okay. And you know, you have those times where it gets really overwhelming and you got a lot on your mind, but just know that like hockey isn't what you do. It's not who you are. It's just something that you do. So I feel like that's something I try to keep in my mind when it comes to that.
Before we transition out of your high school career, I would like to mention and get your thoughts on your achievement of getting Miss Hockey. How is that feeling in honor of accomplishing that?
Yeah, I think that kind of started where I, didn't really know that was a thing. To be honest, I started high school hockey and just wanted to be out there and play a game. Like, just wanted to play varsity and kind of see where I was going. And, after that, I think I had a pretty standout year my senior year just because, I focused really hard, but I also had so many amazing players out there with me that helped me to make it what it was. And we did a really good job. We ended up making it to state. But, the Miss Hockey Award is not much else you can say about it just other than amazing. And to know that you didn't do it by yourself, I couldn't have gotten there by myself. I had so many amazing, not only teammates, but coaching staff members and my family that helped me get there. And it's an honor of an award, and to see, all the girls, not only, it's not something you strive for, it's something you obviously can get, but, you want the team awards over the individual awards. But that's something I won't forget and something I'll have with me forever.
So when did you realize that, you just said that you really just wanted to play varsity hockey. So when did you realize you're like, oh, I can continue to do this?
Right.
And you obviously ended up going to the U.
Yep.
And was that always a goal once you're like, hey, I'm pretty good at this? Or were you looking around?
Yeah, it's funny because obviously we're in the state of hockey, and all my friends up in the cities knew. They're like, you can play USA hockey, you can go play in the Olympics, you can do all these things. I had like the NBA on my TV at home. I didn't have anything like that going on hockey related. So I would say when I was about, I think probably my third year of varsity is when I kind of really knew that this is kind of what I wanted to do, and I was going to hopefully try to thrive my way through it and love what I did. So I would say probably 13 or 14, I realized I could, play on a national team, and there's a lot of awards that can happen, but more so like there's just a lot of teams that I wanted to be a part of, and obviously USA Hockey was one of them, and I ended up being on my first national team when I was 15. Was one of the, definitely probably the youngest one there, but it was such a fun experience to know like there's more out there, and to now be someone that young girls can look up to, young boys can too, like that there is something to look forward to now, and it's not just USA Hockey and national team stuff. It's you get to compete every weekend and games matter, and that's the biggest thing.
How was like your first early years at college? Did you have to like balance school out pretty well, or did you have people helping you out there too?
Yeah, so my mom's a teacher, so I was born into the work hard, school before sports type of thing. As much as my dad would fight it, he big basketball guy, we would be shooting free throws before dinner outside. So I would say she definitely taught me how to, you got to be able to do both. And if you can't, you need to sit back and you need to kind of figure it out time management wise. So college was, I would definitely say, an adventure the first year, just finding out that you have like 5 days of 8 a.m.s every week. That sucked. But when you figure it out, it's fine. And I think I have great like support systems in my class. I had my other 5 best friends went all the way through college with me, and we lived together. One we lived with 9 other people, and the other one we lived with 4. So we all kind of like got to know each other really quick. So they definitely helped me out, and they're my best friends for life. So it's been very fun.
That's pretty similar. We did the exact same thing when we were in school. I think we took about 99% of classes together.
Yep.
And it definitely helps. And it sounds like everywhere you've been, you've had that group that just truly supports each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's huge in school, in sports, and just life in general.
Yeah, it's a big thing to find your group, and I always say quantity over quality. As much as you can stress that, I think it's hard until you find that happy medium. To know that you have your best friends who are going to be supportive of you no matter what. Like I would say someone that I look up to is Grace Selwinkle. She's one of my best friends who, is such, people call her a hardo on the ice. Like she works hard and she does so much stuff off the ice to, get better. But she's such a fun, loving, and caring person off the ice. We'll go to lunch once a week. To know I have someone who, is going to hold me accountable on the ice, but also in life love on me and give me that support is huge. And, I have my parents, she has her parents, and just to know you have those people to support you when you do have those bad days, because everyone has bad days. I have bad days. Like, it's not all perfect sunshine and rainbows. So to have people who actually love you and support you is huge.
Yeah. So when you first got to college or at the U, did you have any sort of intentions on carrying your hockey career beyond your last game there? Was that something you had in mind?
Yeah, I think being a part of USA Hockey and being a part of the national team circuit, my 3 years in high school, that kind of opened up my eyes to the possibilities of what was next. And I didn't quite know what the professional level was going to look like. And even right after college, there was nothing really set in stone. There was, a professional hockey league, and then there was also some overseas stuff that you could be a part of. And I was getting reached out by a lot of different people, didn't quite know where I was going to go, but thank goodness I told my parents, I go, thank you for birthing me in the right year, because this is the year for women's hockey, to be a part of that. And it's been quite the honor to not only, be a part of the league in general, to be one of the first, I would say, people to be able to play and to, I think we're ironing things out still, but I think it's been awesome just to think that this has come together in about 4 months.
Yeah, I think it would only be fair for me to ask this question, it being the Minnesota High School State Tournament. What would your advice be for someone, a lot of high schoolers here, what advice would you give them as they transition into picking a university, going to college? Like, what was something that you learned over the years to overcome? Obviously, you said transitioning was a big thing from high school to college. What advice would you give? Yeah,
I would say it's hard because there's so much. I had so many people in my life that gave me such, just good advice where, it's hard to just pick one. But I would say my mom always said, like, when I was choosing my university and where I wanted to go, if I got there the first day and I somehow broke my leg, like, where would you want to be for the next 4 years? And, I did a lot of kind of soul searching. I looked out east. I looked, other places. I didn't think that I wanted to stay local, but I didn't know Minnesota was my spot. I feel like people who are from Minnesota, some of them know they wanted to go to Minnesota, and that was not the case with me. I did tours back when North Dakota had a women's team. I probably toured there 3 times, toured Wisconsin a lot, toured Minnesota as well. And it's funny, but I was the one to reach out to Minnesota, and I don't think most people know that. So I would say another one is don't be afraid to reach out. If you get, told that they don't want you or whatever, that's just more proof in the pudding, I guess, to go somewhere else and to prove that you're worth it. And I think that definitely happened to me at least once or twice. But I think Minnesota was my spot. I knew that being there, if I were to get hurt or if I wasn't, happy hockey-wise, I was going to be happy in my personal life, and that was kind of the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I mean, you said it even before you started there, but what is like your thoughts on, so it being the year for women's hockey, you mentioned that. Mm-hmm. What are your feelings on being the first ever draft pick in the PWHL?
Yeah, I mean, that was an absolute honor. It's definitely a photo of me and Billie Jean King that will be definitely hung up on my wall for ages to come. But like I've said, it's just an honor to be a part of such a special program where, you're not only cared about as a person, but you're cared about financially. As much as that, I feel like people try to stray away from money-wise. Like, that is a huge thing. You can't do what you do every day and get ice time and, do the extra things you need to do to stay healthy, get healthy meals, live in a good apartment, live in a good space. Those are all big things that sometimes you have to really think about when you're getting to this level and where you want to play. And I think that was a big determining factor for a lot of women in the past who didn't get to play where they wanted to because the money wasn't right. And I think now to be backed financially as well as just personally, and to know we're getting flights, we're getting, we have great equipment managers, we have just great people to support us. Like I said, it was great to be the first overall draft pick, but for me, that's just a stepping stone in where I want to be and what I want to do. There's so much more to come, and my team, PWHL Minnesota, has been doing really well, but, we got a lot more things we want to accomplish, and obviously the championship at the end of the day is huge. So that's probably bigger for me, is to see how our team kind of comes together here at the end.
So have you been able to spend any time with Billie Jean King, and who's an absolute legend?
She did DM me on Instagram, and that was pretty cool. So I did get to talk to her a little bit after the draft. She's awesome. She is sharper than a tack. Like, I was mind blown at all the things that she, was spitting out facts, and she's one of our huge benefactors and someone who has supported us since day one. And I got to also give shout outs to the girls who have been here since the beginning and have worked and have gotten up at 6 a.m. because bad ice time was the only time women were going to get, and, grinding for the time and the energy that, they deserve. The Kendall Coynes of the world, Hillary Knight, Marie-Philippe Lin, anyone who has done that, I'm very blessed to be, put in the right time and space in this point and just be able to reap the benefits of it. But they're the ones that did all the work.
Yeah. You mentioned, that you get better flights, a little bit better treatment now. I believe we were sitting about 20 rows behind all of you guys on the flight to Toronto for All-Star. So that is definitely proof right there that
Yes.
you're getting treated a lot better, which is much deserved. But leading into Toronto, you're able to be a part of that 3-on-3 awesome night of
Yes.
of hockey at Scotiabank Arena. How was the reaction in Toronto? Obviously, that's another hockey hotbed in the world.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm sure that it was an absolute zoo for you.
Yeah, it was super cool. I had been to Toronto. That was like my 5th time since the summer. I don't know what was in the water there, but I had just been there a lot. But I was so excited. I got to bring with my mom. So my mom and I got to explore the city and kind of take advantage of the outside of hockey life, where like normally if we're traveling or we're doing something, it's hockey related. We're going to the rink. She's driving me there. We're watching games. You get back to the hotel, you sleep, and you do the same thing over and over again. So to know me and her got to have brunch together, and we got to go and explore like the NHL gifting suite and do all the fun things that, you know, professionalism is now and that women get to experience. And that game was awesome. Not only to be, you know, I think one of the biggest things that I remember is being out, seeing my name on the board, and just seeing the fans, even in Canada where sometimes you can get booed as a USA player. It was just an awesome experience, and to see the growth of women's hockey, and as much as short the game was, we loved it. I think the girls, before and after, some of them I had never played with before, like the Brianne Jenners of the world, any of the Canadians, where we don't have a lot of Canadians on my team here at PWHL Minnesota. So to just play and be alongside people who have worked so hard for the sport was an honor.
Yeah, how do you like the different rules that this league has compared to the
they're
NHL
sick.
or regular hockey?
They're awesome. I think Jailbreak has been one that people have been really sticking to.
That one rocks.
That
Yeah,
one's
we
awesome,
just learned
and
about that
it's
one.
fun because most of us have goal songs, and then also you have songs for the jailbreak. So if you get yeah, I think we've had one jailbreak goal, but other teams have had it, and it's funny to just hear it. And then sometimes you skate up and get them from the box, and sometimes you do this and that. So that, and then I think the playoff rules right now are looking pretty cool. And something that I think NHL was looking to implement a few years ago, and it didn't stick. So I'm glad that we get to kind of try it out and test it to see how it works, and make sure no one tanks. I don't think that would happen, but you just never know with teams and places. So very excited to see how that goes, and that'll be coming up here soon in a few months.
Yeah. No, those are all super cool rules. And I just want to ask you, what's it like playing here at the XL in front of you? You guys' crowd that you get for your home games is insane from our perspective.
Amazing.
What's it like from being a player on the ice?
Yeah, so I think as a woman and being a part of some very interesting teams and where we've had some of the best and you still can't get fans, and that's sometimes because we're put in bad situations, bad ice time, certain things, and sometimes it's not up for grabs. But I think whenever we go on the ice, our team is never worried about how many people are going to be in the stands. Obviously, we want to play hockey, but we have, you know, an amazing fan base who supports us so well. And even after games, sometimes it takes hours and hours to get out of the rink because you're meeting people, you're signing autographs, and, you know, our team couldn't be happier about that. I think one of the things we focus on is accessibility. Obviously, you don't want to be too accessible where, you know, you're not able to train the way you want to, but we want to make sure that we're people that actually young girls can meet and talk to and realize that we are legitimately just people. And we love what we do and we play hockey, but we're just people outside of the sport. So that's something that's been really cool. But the X, you know, going back to high school hockey, it's been the coveted place. Everyone wants to play there. And when you get there, you kind of look out and see everything. And I think that's kind of what I do every game. I love looking at the signs and the little girls in the stands. So I would say that's definitely my favorite part.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've noticed just with the conversation is that we previously touched on the mentors in your life, and now it's coming back where you're a mentor for a lot of the youth, the younger girls out there. So I don't know, have you noticed that, being just kind of at that age and at that level now where little girls are looking up to you in the hockey world?
Yeah, I think it's been super cool. I think sometimes people ask me, like, who was that when you were young? And kind of like I mentioned, I didn't have a ton. I obviously grew up in a basketball family, in a basketball town. Now I'm glad to say that a lot of them are hockey fans in Lake City, as much as we don't have a program still. I have so many fans from there, but to, you know, be someone that little girls can look up to and like little boys too. I think it's huge to know that, you know, I want to do everything right, but to know that no one's perfect. And like I'd mentioned, it's okay to not be okay. Some days I'm not going to have the best game, but to know the little girls honestly don't care. Like, they'll come up to me and just give me a hug. Some of them I'll turn around and they'll just be looking like they're 2 feet tall and just want a little hug. And to know, like, that'll turn my day around in a second. Like, sometimes when days don't go well and games don't go well, I enjoy coming upstairs and getting, you know, hugs and see signs from little kids who don't care about that. They just want to see you and meet you and, be a part of your life and just for a second. And they're always excited to say, oh, do you remember me? Like, I met you like 2 days ago. And I'm always be like, of course I remember you. And just to see that I'm someone who, people can look up to, but just see that I'm a normal person is huge because, I'm not out here as a huge celebrity every day. I love walking the streets. I love just doing everything like a normal person would. So it's been cool to just meet so many amazing young girls who now have a professional league to look up to and to girls that they can meet and realize it's a true dream that can come true at some point.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of USA legends on PWHL Minnesota as well. I know before the show we were talking about Kendall Coyne-Schofield.
Yep.
We got to meet her and do
She's
something with her. Awesome.
Yes.
But how has she been as a leader for maybe some of the younger players who haven't ever experienced professional hockey and now they're thrown into this amazing new league and as she's been through it?
Yeah, Mama Kendall's great. She, as much as she has such a motherly way to her. Like even sometimes she tries not to, but she just cares so much about us. And sometimes I'm like, Kendall, you need to go and take a nap and you just need to rest. You have your own child. But she's great. She does a great job of kind of keeping us accountable because she does everything right. And when I mean everything, damn near everything. She works so hard. When I think that she's tired, she has another gear. When we're in the weight room and we're all tired, she's being vocal. She's doing everything she can, even if she doesn't feel well and she's hurt. She just does everything in a way that I can always try to replicate and honor because I know that she's someone that's been through it. She's been through those crappy ice times. She's been through the 5 a.m. sessions. She's been through not getting paid $5,000 a year, which after taxes is literally nothing. So when you think about it, she has just been through so much and has the best attitude. So to have someone like that to look up to and to hold me accountable because when I do have those bad days, sometimes you just need a good kick in the butt and just be like, you're here and you're living your dream. Live it out and love what you do and just go from there.
Yeah, I mean, she sounds like someone who obviously you aspire to be one day when you are in her position as well.
Absolutely.
That's great. So what do you think makes the PWHL super special, completely different from the past?
Mm-hmm.
Why has this year been so successful so far?
Yeah, I think we have to give full credit to fans and our audiences that come out every day and support us. I think I'm not even biased. I just know it for a fact. Minnesota has the best fans, and there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We have had great turnouts, and not even that. We've done community events. We've done ticket holder events. We've done all these things, and we constantly get the support and the showing, whether that's on social media or that's in person. So it's been awesome to just meet people and to see how many people love the sport of women's hockey and just hockey in general. We want to be people that you can look up to and learn from even. And we're people who want to, learn every day. I feel like we're learners of the sport. So I think for our league, the biggest thing, like I said, financially, we have financial backing from the Mark Walter Group, owner of the LA Dodgers. And then we have Billie Jean King as well and her partner. So to have people who financially back us as well as personally, they come to games. I don't think some people see that, but they're in suites, obviously protected.
We actually saw Billie when we went to the New York game. In New York,
fun. Yeah, so she's everywhere, and we just have so many people who care and support, and I just think that you can tell that this is something that's here to stay, and I don't think you could always have said that about women's hockey in the past. Just to see the college level increase every single year, I think I value it and see how much growth has happened and how much more support there is and opportunity. I think I drove every day to the cities when I was a kid, an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, because there was nothing where I lived. And I think now I can proudly say that there's a lot more opportunity and a lot more growth in the sport. And there's so much more, you could see even love for the game because they know, kids know that there is something past high school and college.
Yeah, you obviously went to school and played hockey your whole life. So now you said you like to be a regular person. What do you do on your off days? Do you have any other sports you do?
I have 2 brothers that play college basketball, so I am a big basketball fan, big Caitlin Clark fan. I just love watching the sport and to see that in person. My boyfriend plays at the University of Minnesota for the basketball team too, so just lots of fun. And I think obviously basketball is another sport, but in my off time I love to just sit and watch Netflix. I go on a walk every day. I love Minneapolis. Kind of by US Bank, that area is really special to me. It's somewhere that I've been a lot, and I love to bake. I think that's another thing that some people wouldn't guess as an athlete, but it's all in moderation, people. You don't have to eat healthy all the time. That's what I always have to say. But that's probably the things that I do, and I love hanging out with my family as well.
Yeah, I think what I took away from that is balance, like finding balance in your life, and that kind of ties into where we're at here with Sophie's squad. And I want to ask you, what does mental health mean to you?
Yeah, I think the stigma of mental health has definitely changed in the recent years, but I think it's been just as important ever since I was a kid. High school is, I would say high school is even rougher than college sometimes because you're just not sure how to deal with emotions, and there's a lot going on, and whether or not that's making a JV or a varsity team, or that's good grades, expectations from your parents, expectations from your school, expectations from friends. So when that all adds up sometimes in high school, I would say that is just something that's really hard to deal with. And if I didn't have my family sometimes to vent to, or friends to, lay a hand on my shoulder and just say it's okay to struggle through some things and to not, be okay all the time. And I think when you get to college and you find those core group of friends, and then you later in life realize that sometimes moderation is key, and not doing too much and just enjoying your time is huge. Because I think I've just been out with a shoulder injury recently for a month, and that even brought into clarity how hard it is to sometimes sit and watch your friends do, or people that you love sit and do what they get to do, and you're just sitting in the stands. And that kind of got to me a little bit. And, I sat and talked to my family about it, and after that I felt so much better just to kind of let it out and know that I wanted to be out there, but sometimes a break is beneficial.
100%. And when you see someone maybe the opposite point of view from what you've been doing with the last month, how do you know when to, check on them, talk to them a little bit, and just be there to, maybe you're not even talking, maybe you're just sitting there letting them
Having
say
coffee.
anything.
Yep.
When do you know is the right time to do that?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard, I think, to see friendships grow and to truly know who you're playing with. I think it's easy for me now to know everyone on my team and to truly see if people are struggling, whether or not that's on the ice or off the ice. It's great to just check in, and sometimes you don't need to always check in with that person. Sometimes you need to check in with their best friend, or maybe even send them a text and just say, hey, thinking of you, da-da-da-da. So I think just checking in and making sure that they have your back, you have their back, they know that. Sometimes it's not even words. Sometimes it's just putting a hand on their shoulder and saying, like, it's okay. We're not going to win every game. Not every play is going to be perfect. Sometimes playing with your best friends can be hard just because, you have such high expectations and you want to win and you want to do this and you don't want to yell at people and you want to keep people accountable. But finding the healthy balance of, loving on, not only loving yourself, because that's the most important thing I think for me, is sometimes giving myself grace and knowing that not everything's perfect, but also knowing other people struggle with the same thing and being like, it's okay to not be okay and to not have perfect days, because sometimes you just need to go home, put on a face mask, and watch some Netflix.
And do some baking.
Yeah.
And odds are there's someone that very close to you that's
Yes.
having the exact same feeling that
Yep.
day, and
Mhm.
you're not alone no matter what. So
Yes.
Taylor, thank you so much. We're going to do a little bit of rapid fire questions though,
Great.
so the people can get to know you a little bit
Perfect.
better. And then we might even open it up to a Q&A. So if anyone has a few questions, they can come up
Yes.
here. Get those questions ready. Alrighty. Favorite athlete to watch?
Bias, but I would say Caitlin Clark right now, and then I also just love watching Austin Matthews. I mean, he's been killing it recently, so, and like he always has, but this year has been a little bit more over the top.
Good answer. TV show you are watching right now?
So I just had finished Suits and How to Get Away with Murder, but now I am watching The Bachelor.
Classic. Go-to coffee order?
So I don't drink coffee.
Tea?
Sometimes I'm more of a...
Actually, you walked in with an energy drink.
I
Alani.
did, but it's been a long day, so that's probably why. I like Alani Nu energy drinks, but I also love a strawberry refresher from Starbucks, and I'm sure every little girl has had that, so I'm one of you guys as well.
Any hidden talents that you have?
I can juggle, and I'm still pretty nasty at basketball, I can't lie.
Shooter? Point guard?
Yeah, I was point guard when I was a kid. Had to play a lot of defense on my brothers, but they're 6'9" and 6'6" now, so I don't really stand a chance.
Favorite musical artist?
Tate McRae is my favorite musical
All right,
artist.
all right.
Yep.
Go-to pregame ritual?
I really like to have some sort of pasta and like sauce, even that's just spaghetti meatballs before the game. And then I used to juggle in high school all the time. I don't do it as much anymore. That's more of just a focus aspect for me. But I would say I always call my dad before games. He's someone I love dearly. We don't always talk hockey, and I think that's a huge thing sometimes is not always focusing on you need to do this, 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 and this. It's more so we take two things. Hi, Crystalline. That's my roommate in college. But just like focusing on sometimes outside of hockey and being okay with, you're going to be playing hockey for 2 hours. It's okay not to talk about it for the whole time.
All right. And lastly, favorite restaurant in Minnesota?
Oh, God. I recently went to Mason Margeau. It's that and Billy's Sushi. Those are my two favorites right now.
That one got some praise over there.
That's good.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
This has been a
you.
pleasure. Does anyone want to come up and ask a few questions? In the mic, Jamie.
I've seen a lot of game day pictures of your outfits. Can you let me know about your inspiration, how you pick out your outfits for a game?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question because I always ask people. I love your hat. I was just going to ask you where you got that too. Cute. I feel like it depends on the day, and if we're home or away, I tend to try harder at home. I feel like because you get to just kind of bring sweats after the game if you want to go home in those. But I would say I take some credit from TikTok. I buy a lot of clothes because people influence me on there. So I would say that, but I do love an oversized blazer or a coat. It's just easy to throw over an outfit. But I would never say my style was 100%. I feel like college really broke me out of my shell with that. So I would say that. And then I feel like I buy a lot of my stuff from H&M, Princess Polly, just the normal girl stuff, I guess. Sometimes Amazon, too. They have great dupes on there. I know. Yep, for sure.
Any other questions? Come on up.
Can you tell me who your third grade teacher was?
You're going to catch me in a bad spot here.
No, that's okay.
You know your third grade
It wasn't
teacher?
Mrs. Buck.
So think about it.
Was it
What?
Carrie?
Coors?
Yeah, Carrie.
Mrs. Coors!
Carrie.
I see her all the time.
Well, Carrie's on the phone with me. I'm her
Oh my God,
sister-in-law.
Oh,
That's why
fun.
when I
Look at
saw you, I
that.
was like, oh my God, I gotta call Carrie.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like I
Reunion.
just saw her recently in the summer. I was golfing and I had saw her at a golf tournament or something. So
Well, she says hi.
yes, tell her I say hello.
Hello, Mrs. Kors.
Hi. Everyone says hi, Mrs. Kors.
My mom has a group of friends,
Right.
teacher friends, and she's one of them. So they're the best.
There you go.
Yes, of
Do we have
course.
someone over here? Come on up.
Don't be scared. I love it.
Why do you love hockey so much?
Oh, that's a great question, sweetie. I would say because it makes me smile, and it's something that I enjoy doing with my friends. I think it's obviously when you're young, you want to play a lot of sports. Is hockey your favorite? Yeah. How old are you? Do you love what you do? Then you just got to keep playing until you wake up one day and you don't love what you do. Keep doing what you do every single day. Because I get up every day and I love what I do, and I'm going to be 24 here soon, so I've had probably 20 years of it, which is awesome, and you got lots to look forward to.
Awesome.
Amazing. Anyone else out there? Questions? We're good? Well,
Perfect.
You got one? Come on up here.
Cute. That's a great question. I would say recently, I loved playing when I was in U12s. That was one of my favorites. We went to state a few times, but I would say my best game and most fun game I played in would have been the last World Championships when I won a gold medal with Team USA in Canada. So that was pretty cool because no one in the stands wanted us to win and they were booing us. So I would say that was probably one of my favorite games I've played in.
Sorry, Canadian. You hear that?
Yeah, sorry.
Whoops.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Taylor, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Please be sure to stick around. Check out Sophie's Squad. We'll be here answering more questions about it. We're selling amazing stuff. Proceeds going to the Sophie Squad Awareness Fund. Thank you all so much, and have an awesome high school hockey tournament weekend.
Thank you guys.
All right, well, that was the interview with Taylor Heise. I was watching from afar back there as the guys were up there interviewing her. How did it go?
Went well. There was a good crowd watching, which it didn't actually affect me for some reason. The Nylander one was a little bit more nerve-wracking, obviously, because I think that would have been my first time doing that. But This one, it was like a lot of people that were like moving by. They'd stop in for like a couple minutes and then move on. But then towards the end, I started to see like the crowd really like build up and start listening to what we were having to say and stuff like that. But other than that, she was a great girl, really thoughtful with all her answers, and I felt it went like really smoothly.
Yeah. I had a little different experience than Frizz. I was actually more nervous.
Really?
I was a little more nervous for this one, sitting there. I think it was just the anticipation was a little longer. We, instead of like Nylander, we walked up and went right away. There, I felt like we were sitting for a little bit. But I mean, like Frizz said, once the interview got going, it really became easy. And
was it because you had so many people that knew you watching too?
Sometimes
that makes it worse. Like all the girlfriends and stuff were like, we were
I
like,
could see them gossiping.
The thing is, we were only 5 feet away. It's not like we were like way back in the crowd. We were so close to you guys the whole time.
Yeah,
it's different.
I would say that probably is definitely one of the reasons why I was a little more nervous at the beginning. But yeah, once it got going, settled down, and like Frizz said, I thought it was a great interview. Definitely she's really well spoken and added a lot of value to like whatever questions we ended up asking her.
That's one thing I really noticed from just like watching you guys is how like you guys would ask her a question and then she was so well spoken and like went in depth in her answers, and it like really rounded out the whole interview pretty well.
Yeah, that definitely makes it like don't want to say easier, but it definitely helps out from like our perspective up there. Just like when she's given well in depth answers, you got time to like listen, and also like if there is like a moment where you could add just like a follow-up question to what she's saying. Like sometimes if it's like kind of quick answers, it's hard to get that rhythm. So yeah,
she did say that she was pretty well versed in front of the camera and media and stuff like that. So I'm sure she's had a few bigger people talking to her than us, so it's probably pretty easy for her.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting because after the show we were just chatting a little bit and how much of a difference it is for her because was she 24 I believe, and then she's playing with some people that are lower 30s, and they're saying how she gets a hard time, or not a hard time, but how she's in school and she's doing classes, and these people have been out of school for like 10 years, and like just some players, the contrast between the way they live now is just so much different in that league because you have all these different levels of people coming in, which I thought was it's pretty interesting.
I thought it was really cool when we opened it up for questions. Like there was a lot more than I didn't think anyone was going to ask any questions because that's a little bit of a harder environment to like have people come up and ask a question. But yeah, that surprised me.
I was going to say that too because I could start to tell like as the interview was going on, more people were like sticking around and like waiting for the show to kind of be over. Like it kind of seemed like there was an autograph line kind of forming, So she's very popular in Minnesota, and I didn't it's somewhat expected, but like having all those little kids and like even parents and stuff bringing up their kids like to get an autograph or something after the show, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was funny how like you could see the little girls would be standing there like all shy and stuff, and then the parents would do the classic
push
go ask the question. Go on. And they had some great questions.
Yeah.
After that, what was your experience then? Because we obviously finished cleaning up the booth, not cleaning it up, but running it for the rest of the weekend. How was your guys' experience sitting behind that table and selling our hoodies?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. It is just fun doing kind of like similar to what we did in Hockey Day Minnesota up in War Road, just like working a booth and interacting with people. It was really cool in that sense. And it was nice being inside. War Road got a little cold. And yeah, it was fun just interacting with other high schoolers since there's a lot more of them there compared to what our first experience is like when it was just like War Road in those smaller towns.
Yeah, the people there were a little bit different than in War Road. Like a lot of the people in War Road were I don't know, there's just like nothing, there's not many other options and nothing else for them to do. So I feel like we maybe had more small talks. Like these people, they had 1,000 different booths to go to, and they're like a lot of them were like coming from the game and roaming. So I thought that was a little bit different. But no, like the people that did come through had some unique people that we haven't, that I wouldn't have expected to come in, like that guy with the Devils jersey swinging in and grabbing a hoodie. I don't think he had any idea who we were or what we did. It was just kind of like
he was looking for a white hoodie.
Yeah, he was looking for a white hoodie, and he liked what he saw. I thought that was like a really cool part to it all.
Yeah, wasn't that? So the booth had like Sophie Squad's own like merch and like different like jewelry stuff, and then we just had the one hoodie. So it was cool to see people that didn't know us, didn't know like no bad anything like that. They were choosing our hoodie just like naturally. So that was a good sign. And those other hoodies they had were nice. They had nice colors. They were cheaper too, but I guess Sir Lawson did a good job on the design.
Yeah.
Guess so. What did you say after the first one? Is that if the first hoodie, the Founders one, sells out, that I have to keep? We can't change what we do, and I have to keep making them.
Yeah, exactly. He's on a hot streak.
What did you think of the experience?
I thought it was good. It was not only to see like all the people coming up and like asking about mental health and like what we were doing and stuff, but people at other booths too. Like it was fun to like walk around and talk to them and kind of learn about their business, and then vice versa with us too. Zach Bell was there, on the bench boys. Like it was fun to see those guys too.
Pavel Barber, Nick the goalie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hockey creators there.
And that's what's different about like the Expo at the state hockey tournament as opposed to Hockey Day Minnesota. Is like I think they got more hockey creators in there and stuff like that. So that was cool.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, you know what? I might have just lost my train of thought. Shoot.
Well, I'd say that the whole expo is if you have a hockey family or you're like a hockey nerd, that is like that's your Willy Wonka's chocolate factory of hockey. There you can get any hockey card, jersey, training device, clothing you could imagine.
Anything
it is hockey through and through.
One thing that I really enjoyed is that we got to do this with like our girlfriends and fiancés and wives. It's cool that they were there with us doing it, so it wasn't
and Reggie.
And we had some of our friends there too, so it's cool.
Yeah, this is what I was gonna say when I just said I forgot. But did you guys not find it really cool and more obviously better just how pairing it up with Sophie Squad, and when people were coming through, it wasn't just for no bad, but it felt like there was just a really big purpose behind it, and every time someone would buy something, it's like we're donating back, and it's like it just made it almost like more enjoyable that way.
Yeah, definitely. It made it not only easier for us with them having a lot of the stuff set up for us, just helping us in general, but just knowing that every time someone makes a sale that it's going towards something a little more than if it was just our own booth. And it also just brought new people in that have been working with the foundation, and they are really thankful that we are there, but we are thankful that they were with us as well.
And yeah, it was just cool too. It just like I guess you guys were saying how there was a deeper meaning behind it, but everything was rooted like in hockey there. So it's like everyone that stopped by the Expo, even went to like the event, like they have some sort of connection back to hockey, which is like cool.
Yeah, that was like the third piece to it that made it special. Is like us, then the Sophie Squad, the mental health, and then both brands actually tying back through the sport. And I think there was good feedback after we put on a pre-order on. We sold out of our stuff here, so there's just a lot of people that will be able to support Sophie Squad and the mental health. So
sold over 200 hoodies.
Yeah, that was cool.
Wow. That's all we can ask for. It's so cool at the end of the day. Blew our expectations and mind on it. So
for sure. So then the finishing of the game. So the tournament after, we had a big matchup in the finals, and we watched that thing on TV. I was cheering for Chanhassen.
Yeah, I think we all were.
I was going for Edina.
So yeah, Chanhassen had quite the underdog story this year. They beat number 1 ranked Minnetonka, who had in the section finals. They had They had 8 D1 commits on that team, and
that's a high school team. Just to say, that's crazy.
Not even like junior teams don't even have that many D1 commits, but yeah, they were just picked number 1 all season long, expected to win the whole thing. And Chanhassen, don't know what they were ranked, but they ended up beating them in section finals and went to the state tournament. And they had a couple good games there as well. I don't think every game was too easy for them. I think one of them was in overtime or something like that, and then they ended up playing Edina in the championship. And we all watched it together. Yeah. Grabbed a bite to eat after we were done working at the Sophie Squad booth and enjoyed the game.
Unfortunately for some of us, but for Frizz, I guess, since he picked Edina won the game 2-1.
Yep.
That was a tight game.
And the difference between that high school matchup, I always love comparing this to what Canadian hockey is like at that level. And there's a league in Canada at that age level. It's like midget AAA. And those are the best players in your region from when you're in grade 10, 11, and 12. And it just blows my mind how good these high school teams are for that age group compared to the midget AAA that we play. Because on my team, first of all, it's unheard of if you were committed to a college team. There's 0 players in the entire league.
That's crazy.
In the whole league, there will be nobody committed to the Division I college when you're grade 10, 11, 12. Like, the only way that's possible is when you, like, go up to play junior, which typically happens after that high school age anyway. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't, like, you guys would roll. Those high school teams, Edina would just roll over. I feel like even maybe the TELUS Cup champion. I don't know. What do you think? It would be a close game?
No, I don't think I don't think they would roll them over. I think it'd be a good game.
That's the best team in Canada.
Dang.
Oh no, they would wipe them.
You think so? The TELUS Cup champ?
Yeah, they would destroy a little high school suburb of Minneapolis would beat the best team in Canada, the AAA team.
Yeah, I think so.
No way. I don't
think so. How would you
happen?
think so?
Yeah,
actually?
I don't know.
No, like
I don't think so.
Because it's not the best players in Canada. It's just the best team in that region of Canada.
Yeah, but the best teams are like from Toronto and Vancouver and stuff, and I guarantee you
they have like 2 studs. They'll have like 3 or 4 studs.
I think
it would be a.
I would love to watch.
I'd love
to see. I'd love to see.
So basically, you're taking the best team out of the whole country of Canada going against one little small town in Minnesota.
You just have to think of the scale, man.
No, it's not the scale. Because
but the probability is saying, like, the probability that one team out of the whole country of Canada could beat just this one specific team in Minnesota.
But that one team is still only being made up of one town. They can't grab player like it's.
But there's
still
100 towns where you got like you can have a chance 100 different towns compared to just one.
Well, there's only like 10 towns a league. It's only out of like 50.
I would
it's
truly
probably the
love
same,
to see it regardless.
It's probably the same amount of teams.
Best team in Minnesota is probably one of the top teams in the States.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why it would be the best team in the U.S. versus the best team in Canada for that age group.
I think they need to do more.
So
is my mic on?
You're good. You're good.
Oh, I think they should do that. Like, there's still early in the year.
Did you ever do this for us? Because I did this in AAA. They call it the Can-Am, where it's Canada against America, and it's like whatever. Like this was AAA, so it's a little different. It's not high school affiliated, but we played like Canadian teams, and it was a specific.
Yeah, I don't know. I think someone should organize that.
Do it at the XL.
Like,
man.
why not?
Maybe we'll organize some exhibition games.
Yeah.
Are we the founders of this league, guys, for this tournament?
I think it'd be a very interesting game.
It'd be chippy, really chippy. I think it'd be super physical. Imagine like the XL sold out, half of it's like American fans, half are Canadian.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, students. Crazy.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we are. If you guys didn't know, we haven't told you, so you wouldn't know, but we have a very big project.
It
really starts today. Like, it starts in the next month.
That's when you're started?
It's a 10-year plan.
There's a lot of factors that go into this plan.
Oh, a lot of factors, because essentially what's going to happen is that all of our kids are going to play for the same high school team, and all of us here are going to be on the staff.
There's the staff for you.
Yeah, Yelly, read off. Yelly has the staff.
We got the 2045 Edina Varsity coaching staff. Head coach, Will Blake. Assistant coach, his fellow warehouse boy, Levi Cudmore. And then rounding off the coaching staff, we got Mark Taniel, myself. That's our coaching on the bench boys. And then goalie coach is Mr. Heffy.
Nice.
Strength and conditioning coach, Lawson McDonald. Treasurer / bookkeeper, David Kaplan, CPA. Team chef, Austin Friesen.
Nice.
And we might have to
a well-rounded team.
And we might be facing Trey Rooney against Wayzata.
Trey Rooney.
He's going to be the head coach for the Trojans.
That'd be pretty funny.
A big rival.
That'd be such a cool team.
I feel like if we keep immersed in the community here, no bad takes off even further. One day I think we'll be so tight to the community that they're going to want us to coach.
Do our kids all have to play on that team?
Yeah, that'd
be ideal, right?
That'd be ideal. We'd have to live in the same town, have kids around the same time, or we would have to have kids at the same time.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to. I'm assuming Austin's kid will have to play up a couple years.
Yeah.
He'll be a
Skip a few years.
He might be a
That's
little
young.
younger. We'll have to.
Yeah.
We'll have to give him some exceptional status into high school hockey.
Pull some strings.
Get him into some summer camps.
Well, we
Know a
could, because
guy.
high school like Taylor Heise, she played varsity at grade 7. That'll be like his kid.
Yeah.
If he's that much of an all-star, I'll take it. I'll let you guys
You have to pay Will.
get him up there.
You have to
Get
put
him
some
stronger, bigger, faster.
Well, you're the chef, man. You got to bulk him up.
Money. Oh
And
yeah.
then you send him to Lawson for training.
And then you get the
Perfect.
warehouse
Yeah.
boys teaching them skills on the ice.
The only concern I have on that roster is the defensive end. On that,
Yeah, we got
I
we got
think-
3 forward-minded coaches.
Yeah. I might have to. Can 4 coaches go on, or maybe the chef goes up and talks defense as he makes them.
We
food.
can be practice coaches.
I think all of us would be on the ice for practice. That'd be
Oh,
the
yeah.
most fun.
Yeah.
We'd be playing our own game of 3-on-3.
How do you how do you think our team would do if we were taking it legit?
I don't
as
know.
Coaches?
I don't know how our coaching skills are, but it would be very interesting to find out.
It would be.
Maybe that's a goal for us if we're still kicking around here in 20 years.
Well, let's start our no bad
Be
hockey
longer than
camp,
that. Oh yeah, we got to start somewhere.
and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's all gonna tie in, and 10 years down the road, we'll see where we're at.
Heard
But
it here first.
yeah, well, thank you guys for listening to the Fan Club Pod. Thank you for tuning in to Taylor Heise, all the Taylor Heise fans. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. We got some other plans in the future too. We'll be getting some more players onto the pod, but appreciate you guys listening in.
He's got a hot take.
He's got a hot take. Okay.
I got a hot take from the producer table over there. So we heard a rumor that Zach Parisi is going to be the assistant coach for Edina High School next season.
We breaking the news first?
And that source came from a Edina hockey dad at a
There
restaurant.
you go. That might be the biggest news in Minnesota coaching history, if that's the case.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
It'll be interesting to see if that's true or not. We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, that team probably will be going back to back if he's joining the coaching staff.
Sometimes, though, those NHL players aren't as good of coaches as you might think they are.
No, because sometimes they're too smart for their own team almost.
People
Yeah,
don't
it's
get
like
'em.
they're trying to run it too strictly.
The
Yeah.
kids don't understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah, and it's confusion and chaos.
Yeah. So,
Well said.
but to correct me if I'm wrong, because was he just in Colorado for some reason? I thought I saw him with a
Yep.
Colorado jersey.
He's on their team right now.
Okay.
He's playing this year.
Yeah, so he's gonna finish pretty much guarantee retirement and
Yeah.
just go into coaching. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Very
this
cool.
is all from
None
a
other
Edina
but Edina.
dad. Like
Yeah.
we don't know.
This is all
Yeah.
from an insider.
This is an insider.
Okay.
Yeah.
State championship dad said this.
Cool.
So
Yeah. Well, as always, please make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a review and share with a friend.
Of course.
And we'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you
Bye.
all for listening.
Care.
so.